What's up guys, Turbo Velchiak here, back with another video, and in today's video, I'm reviewing Beyblade Burst Rise episode 22, titled Shining Ashindra. So since this video will have spoilers on the episode, there will be a link in the description below to where you can watch the episode if you have not already. So anyways, this episode covers episodes 43 and 44 of Beyblade Burst Gachi, and yeah, so let's begin with the analysis. So like always, the episode starts off with the welcome to the world of Beyblade scene, and then the story starts off at the Victories gym, where Dante and Delta are training, and Devilos knocks Dragon out of the stadium, and Armin is watching Dante and Delta train, and then he leaves. And after Armin leaves, Fumiya comes in and tells Ichika that he will help Dante and Armin fight in a team battle against Inferno, but then he finds out that Delta is the third member after finding Dante training with Delta. So the next scene takes place at the riverbank where we find Armin, and he recounts when he first met Dante, and how Dante has gotten much stronger after defeating each opponent he has faced, and Armin is annoyed that he can't enter Hyperflux like Dante can. So after the opening sequence, we get back to the Victories gym, and Armin returns and he finds Delta in the Hyperwarp Stadium there. And then Delta asks Armin what does he blade for, and Armin says he wants to get stronger and enter Hyperflux like Dante, and Delta tells Armin that he must face himself first, and he can only be himself, and then Armin challenges Delta, and Delta accepts. So now we're getting into the battle, which is Armin and Bush and Ashindra versus Delta and Master Devilos, and once Armin and Delta launch, Ashindra goes for Devilos, but Devilos dodges Ashindra's attack, and then Devilos uses the stadium slopes to increase its speed, and then Armin and Ashindra get into Bush and Guard, but Devilos breaks through Bush and Guard, causing Ashindra to burst. So Armin and Delta keep battling, and Delta keeps defeating Armin, and Armin is annoyed that he can't win and enter Hyperflux, and then Delta asks Armin if he was listening to Ashindra, and then Armin starts talking to Ashindra, and then Armin gets into his first Ashindra moment, and Ashindra tells Armin to focus on the battle and believe in him, and they will always be together. So Armin gets pumped up and wants to go again, and now we are getting into the next battle. So once Armin and Delta launch, Devilos goes onto the upper deck and uses the stadium's pit to increase its speed, and then Devilos knocks Ashindra away, but Ashindra returns to the center, and then Devilos starts attacking Ashindra. And then the Victories return to the gym and find Armin and Delta battling, and then Armin heats up and we get into Ashindra's avatar, and then Ashindra enters Hyperflux. And then Delta heats up and we get into Devilos' avatar, and then Devilos gets into Hyperflux. And then Devilos returns to the stadium's pit and increases its speed, and then Armin and Ashindra get into Double Bush and Guard, and then Ashindra and Devilos clash, and both bays are knocked away, but Ashindra lands outside of the stadium, while Devilos lands back into the stadium, meaning Delta won the battle. So Dante gets excited because Ashindra entered Hyperflux, and then Dante challenges Armin, and Armin accepts, but we don't see Dante and Armin's battle. So the next scene takes place at the Rainbow Tree Arena, and the Victories vs Inferno match is getting ready to start, and Armin and Delta are waiting for Dante to arrive, and then we see Dante arriving at the Rainbow Tree Arena, and he encounters Gwen, and the first half of the episode ends, which was episode 43 of Gachi. And now we are getting into the second half of the episode, which was episode 44 of Gachi, and the name for this part has not been released at the time of recording this video, but since it was called A Serious Showdown WBBA vs Inferno in Japan, my guess is that it will be changed to something like A Rising Showdown Victories vs Inferno. So the second half of the episode picks up from where the first half left off, and Dante asks Gwen why did he leave the Victories and join Inferno, and Gwen says it was to get to know Dante, and Dante believes it was because he wanted to battle him, and then Dante runs into the arena. And then Dante meets up with Armin and Delta, and he tells them about how Gwen wants to battle him, and like always, Dante gets pumped up. So now, the Victories vs Inferno match is starting, and the bladers of each team are introduced, and it is revealed that the match will consist of 7 battles, with the first 3 being single battles, and then 2 tag battles, and then 2 more single battles, and either the team with 4 wins or the team with the most wins at the end of the 7th match wins the match. So the first game is starting, and Arthur decides that he will go for Inferno, and Dante wants to go for the Victories, but Armin says he will go because Ashindra has the advantage against Apocalypse due to Ashindra being a defense type, and then Dante, Armin, and Delta put their base together for a team fist bump. So now we are getting into the battle, which is Armin and Bush and Ashindra versus Arthur and Prime Apocalypse. And once Armin and Arthur launch, Ashindra takes the center, and then Armin and Ashindra get into Hurricane Defense, and then Apocalypse starts attacking Ashindra, but Ashindra is not affected by any of Apocalypse's attacks. So eventually, both bays are knocked away, and then Apocalypse's locks move and the center of the bay turns red, and then Ashindra takes the upper deck and uses the stadium's pit to increase its speed, and then Ashindra hits the button on Apocalypse, but Apocalypse doesn't burst due to the Eclipse armor, and the Victories don't understand why Apocalypse didn't burst, but yet again, they don't know that the Eclipse armor is keeping Apocalypse from bursting. And then Apocalypse starts attacking Ashindra, and Delta says Arthur is trying to destroy Ashindra, and Armin starts getting nervous, believing he is going to lose, and then Armin gets into an Ashindra moment, and Ashindra encourages him to not give up, because that is not how they are. And then Armin heats up, and we get into Ashindra's avatar, and then Ashindra gets into Hyperflux, but this time, Ashindra masters Hyperflux. And then Arthur heats up and we get into Apocalypse's avatar, and then Apocalypse gets into Dark Flux, and then both Ashindra and Apocalypse go for each other, and the episode ends. So anyways, Shining Ashindra was a good episode, and I did enjoy it, and I was glad that this episode gave Armin some character development, now with him achieving Hyperflux, and then mastering it later in the episode. And the battles in this episode were good, but I was kind of disappointed that Armin and Arthur's battle ended on a cliffhanger. And I'm also glad that we finally got to meet Ashindra, like we have for non-main character Bay avatars like Spryzen, Devlos, and Genesis, sadly so late in the season. And I was also glad that we got to see Iger, Pang, and Loden, since we haven't seen them for a while. Especially Loden, since we haven't seen him since the Bay Carnival finale, but sadly, it was just a cameo for each character. So the next review will be on episode 23, Dragon's Ultimate Awakening, where Armin and Arthur's match concludes, and the second match begins, which will be Dante vs Gwen, and Dragon will awaken in the battle. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this review. If you guys did enjoy, please feel free to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and also feel free to follow me on social media. The links will be in the description below, and I will see you guys in the next video. See you guys later.